funny story. This time last year, we were in California for the Joshua Tree Music Festival. And the way kind of that whole thing even came about was a great photographer, Tom Dellinger, who is from California, but he was in Mobile for a little while. He came by O'Daly's one night and we were playing, and he took some photos and posted them on Facebook. And then the organizer of the festival saw them and reached out. And long story short, we made it to Joshua Tree off some pictures from O'Daly.
That's morning, guys. What is happening? We got another crew of 4 this time. This is wild.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone.
What's going on, Brooks?
It's crazy. Hey, man. So, Chris, they probably know who we are. They've probably seen us for like 5 or 6 weeks chatting. Mm-hmm. Symone and Matt, y'all introduce yourselves. Symone, you want to go first? Tell us who you are.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Symone French, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Mobile. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Heck yeah. Glad you're here. We're glad you're here. A little, just so people know, Simone's going to play us a little ditty in a second. Just everybody just hold tight. We're going to have a little live serenade this morning. All right, Matt, tell them who you are.
Matt Lamond. I usually say local business owner instead of listing out, the businesses, but I'm actually sitting at Post on the Hill, our newest location, kind of add on from Post, the only one that's not downtown. So, but
yeah, go ahead and list the businesses, if you don't mind, because one of my thoughts is funny. You started with O'Daly's. Was that the first one?
I had one before that. Actually, we're Saddle Up Saloon or 9 North Jackson across from Noja. I don't know what they're changing that. They're kind of doing a little flip right now. But I had one before O'Daly's, and then O'Daly's was 2010, and then I kind of added on to O'Daly's the bar side, and then the kitchen, and then added Post across the street. And then Cedar St Social, the Insider Food Hall, the Outsider Sports Lounge, and then the most recent is Post on the Hill, and then we've got the location on Spring Hills Golf Course opening up within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
What? I didn't know about that one. Okay.
What? Really?
See, fun fact.
There you go. Bam.
Bam. That's a fun fact of the day. Symone, have you played at any of these establishments?
Actually, I was just going to say 2 things. That's some really good trivia. I did not know about the first business before O'Daly's.
There you go.
That's some real good, Mobile fun facts. And yes, actually, one of years and years ago, our first band, Infant Richard and the Delta Stones, we spent many a night in O'Daly's, and it's definitely one of the first kind of downtown venues that gave us wild and crazy kids a shot. So yeah, I've been in a Matt Lamond owned business. Yes,
that's
I was
awesome.
Say she's probably played at most, if not all of them, by now.
Except Post on the Hill. I haven't been to Post on the Hill yet.
That's right. We're gonna get you here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was like, oh, Spring Hill Golf Course. Is that at the where will that be, Matt? Where's that location?
So if you know the clubhouse, the pro shop, and then the grill that's attached to the bottom of the Spring Hill College, right there on Dolphin Street.
Got it.
So when you pull in, there's the golf course entrance right there. So they have a bar and grill, and they reached out to me last year about taking over the bar and grill. So we've been working with the college and going to completely rebrand that entire bar and grill, for the local community to come visit. Also kind of spruce up some amenities for the golf course. They currently don't have a beverage cart on a daily basis or even for tournaments. And then we want to kind of really vamp up the tournament experience there as well. So it's a great location. I've loved being in the Spring Hill area. I graduated from Spring Hill, so it was kind of a very weird and very humbling kind of circle because, Spring Hill is what's brought me to Mobile. My first 2 years, I was so in love with Spring Hill. And then my second 2 years, I really fell in love with Mobile. So it's kind of ironic to come full circle and actually put a business on their campus.
That is cool. Yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be the building at the top. I didn't know what that was versus
Yeah,
the
that's
bottom.
McKinney's. I wouldn't have done it. I really don't want to have a bar on a college campus and it'd be a college bar. I don't want to just serve the college students. As being a student there, I know how convenient the golf course can be. And I want to add value, not cause any extra stress for anybody. So
totally get it. And while I'm thinking about it, yeah, you went to Spring Hill. I've heard that before. Are you from born Louisiana originally? Is that right?
New Orleans. Yeah, born and raised in New Orleans.
Born and raised in New Orleans. I think that's why you're such a big Saints fan. I know you're going to like Saints games all the time and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
That's coffee in a wine glass.
Exactly. But I was at the
true bar owner,
That's the only way, man. 10 a.m. coffee in the wine glass, man.
Yeah, I still have Saints season tickets. It's way back in the day when I just had O'Daly's. It was closed on Sundays, so it was like my one day where I could like totally not think or work, and whatnot. Since then, I'm not that fortunate. A handful of them are open on Sundays, but it's still a way for me to get back to New Orleans. I see friends and family, take them to games and stuff like that. But otherwise, I don't think I would go back as often as the Saints take me there. So.
Yeah, I totally get it. And just to give you props as a Mobilian now, I like to tell people that have been here like 5 years. I'm like, at the 5-year mark, I'm like, you're a Mobilian, man. Like, you're a local, just whatever. You're from Mobile. And you told a story recently at the Downtown Mobile Alliance. You like opened it up and you said you had a trip in Vegas and they brought somebody up on stage for something and they're like, who are you? Where are you from or whatever? And you're like, Matt Lamont, Mobile, Alabama. And I thought that was super cool, man. That you were like, hey, like now that's like what's in your head. Like, hey, I'm from Mobile. So I thought that was a cool story that you shared with the Alliance at that lunch. I thought that was great. All right. So Symone's gonna play now, but she's also probably gonna play at this new cool establishment you have because I bet her vibe is probably perfect if y'all do music there. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
We have a great outdoor patio here too. It's like pretty big field. It's very different than downtown where it feels, it's got that, downtown's just downtowny, building after building. This is like very neighborhood house turned into, kind of a bar restaurant. So we've got, the place will be packed and no one will be inside because everybody's outside because it's got such a cool, like comfortable vibe out there. So.
Yeah. I have not been to that new location. My wife has, Mandy has, and she was raving about it. I need to take her for a date night. That'd be perfect. Obviously, a perfect date location. So, Symone, you want to play something for us? What are you gonna play? Is it too early to play, or are you down?
No, I'm down. I think I'm gonna play an original, talking about Infant Richard. Yeah, I know what I'm playing. Talking about Infant Richard. One of my old bandmates, Patrick Ramsey, he and I, we wrote this song together. And it's called Ride for You. So Patrick's probably asleep. Maybe. He might be at work. But anywho, shout out to him.
We'll send it to him later.
Right, exactly. So this is Ride for You. Here we go. You and me, we've been together. This love has seen some years. But every day we fight, I won't lie, myself through the heartache. And even through hazy, the one thing that's clear. It don't matter if you're wrong or you're right. I'm gonna ride for you, baby. That's just how it goes. Now it's clever and saying things and we don't mean. But try flow. We're in the in-between. We fuss, we fight, but at the end, there ain't nobody else, baby. I won't by my side. Cause even through the tears, when everything's hazy, one thing, it don't matter if you're wrong or you're right. Be it early or late at night. Let go. But I'm gonna see how it goes. That's right.
Dang, girl.
That was great.
You warmed up that voice this morning.
Look, I've been fussing behind a 7-year-old since 5:30 this morning.
That got you warmed up. If I can ever try out for your acoustic version of your band, I play like cajon percussion. You hit me up. If you're having tryouts, let me know. I will.
I have all different types of setups. I spoke a lot about my old band, but currently right now, I'm with Symone French and the True Troupe, and we've done some things at O'Daly's. Actually, funny story. This time last year, we were in California for the Joshua Tree Music Festival. And the way kind of that whole thing even came about was a great photographer, Tom Dellinger, who is from California, but he was in Mobile for a little while. He came by O'Daly's one night and we were playing, and he took some photos and posted them on Facebook. And then the organizer of the festival saw them and reached out. And long story short, we made it to Joshua Tree off some pictures from O'Daly. It was, I remember that night, and it was like, maybe the AC was out. It was like a sweaty, high energy, insane night. I'm sure the Jameson sales were through the roof. It was one of those nights. And so it was a good time. It was a good time. So yeah, my connection to O'Daly's and Matt and, that whole downtown community is very strong.
That is awesome. I didn't know that when I lined y'all up to both be on here. I assumed that you possibly had played at some of those establishments.
Yes.
I was just making that assumption. All
Absolutely.
right. That song Ride For You, do you have that where people could listen to it, like a recorded version somewhere?
So I am not yet.
Not yet. Oh my gosh, a teaser. Okay, cool.
We're in a very we are currently working out the studio things. We're trying to, it's a thing that for me, I have to be very patient with. Because I want it to be right. And so we're working on studio stuff, but you can go to my YouTube. There are lots of videos on there. SymoneFrench.com. You can always find me videos and things up there as well. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Simone, what's your next shows coming up?
Let's see. I just so happen to have my planner right here. Actually, you know what? I don't have much this week. I am off. My birthday is tomorrow. So
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. You sang for
so I'm playing brunch at 5 on Sunday, downtown Mobile from 11 a.m. to 2. And then I'm doing a special open house for a friend of mine at the Driskell House. I don't know if y'all have been to the Betty yet or anything like that, but they have an open house Sunday. So I'm playing that, and a friend's wedding in New Orleans. I'm actually going to be in New Orleans Friday. So I've got a light week, a nice, easy week after last week. Last week was insane. So this week is a nice welcome break.
Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I know if you hang out as long as you want. I know you said you've got to run this morning. So if you want to go ahead, and jet, you can, but you hang out as long as you want.
I've got to do the mom part of my
You got to go.
Grocery store, y'all. The grocery store.
All right. Well, thank you so much for serenading us on your birthday, which is tomorrow. Happy early birthday. Yeah.
Thank you. It was good to see you guys.
Thank you. That was great.
You too. All right, Symone, we'll see you later.
Bye.
All right, bye. Man, that was awesome. So Matt, first time we decided, we're like, hey, let's start getting some music on this. Maybe people can come play live and we'll get some, give people some promotion. And I don't know. We just thought it'd be fun. So this is the first time we've done that. So I think so far so good. I think it worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it say about Mobile that you could get somebody with that caliber of talent to come play on a show like this?
Dude,
she's one of a kind for sure.
Yeah, I like how you said that, Chris. You're like someone of that caliber to come play on a show like this. I heard that in your tone, Chris. I heard what you did there. Come play for some jokers
I
like
was
all of
complimenting
us.
her.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Compliments to her, not downing.
No,
us.
not down the show. Of course not.
All right, cool. No, I like that. Matt, if you have other ideas, like ping us. If you have other ideas of people you think we should like hop on that you think should get some exposure or whatever. I made a post, like the Mobile Rundown made a post on Facebook kind of asking, and man, there were like so many bands tagged, and they were like, yeah. And I'd be game for all of them, honestly. Even if I don't know them, I don't care. They can come on and play or whatever. But if someone comes to mind, you can, let us know or ping us, man. If you don't mind. All right. We went through your establishments in the past. I was laying down the other day, literally on the edge of sleep, on the edge of consciousness, man. And I thought of this question. I was like, gotta ask Matt this.
Oh gosh.
No. It's really not that big of a deal. So you started earlier with O'Daly's. You're a young guy. You're a young buck, man. Started that bar. You're getting older as you create these establishments. Are your customers aging with you, or do they stay as young? Or I feel like what you're producing now is like spreading a gamut as you get older. Like what's going on in your head there? Like how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's kind of how Post really came about. I joke that Spring Hill does this event when you're a freshman that you like walk into the Avenue of the Oaks and it's like you're entering your college career. And when you graduate, you walk out of the Avenue of the Oaks and you're kind of entering your professional career. And I kind of joke about O'Daly's as like you're entering your adult life as a young socialite, and Post is, when you kind of step your game up a little bit. But yeah, I think it just happens organically because like you tend to do where you're like to grow where your interests are and where your head is at. And as like I've spent more time, like originally when I opened O'Daly's, the idea kind of came from traveling. I would always seek out the Irish pub, and knowing that it was always a good bar, the drinks were good, it was laid back, it was like almost like a dive bar, but not, and so it was just like kind of like a fun place to go. So anytime I would go out of town, I'm like, where's the Irish pub? And then that kind of just like transformed a little bit into that. And I also looked at, kind of business as a whole, because I was concerned about, hey, like what happens when I get older and my friends that come out on a regular basis and every Friday, Saturday basis start married, kids, and don't go out as much. And I don't have that like direct reach. And with O'Daly's and being more of like, college, young professional, I felt like, okay, I'm rotating a new 21-year-old every year. And so I'm kind of like rotating that age group. But then when I opened Post, I realized that the gap is so much bigger. You get that 21, 25-year-old all the way up to, 70s. And so our clientele is a lot broader in that realm. And so, but it is, it's, I think the toughest part for me is like having multiple children and giving them equal amount of attention. And that's been like the challenging aspect where like you don't love one any more or less. Some are just, you're either, for me, business wise, it's where my friends go more, or, it is a little bit easier to manage, vice versa. So.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Kind of seeing the evolution of your business for sure. As you've like, gotten older, tastes have changed. So yeah, that makes sense. That lines up, man.
But also it really turned into, for me also, like O'Daly's, like I dug the trench for O'Daly's. Like, I mean, I stayed there overnight, said, how can I save some money? It's like, I need a trench from the front of the building to the back of the building, 3 feet deep, save, a couple $1,000s, like that was worth it. Fortunately, I'm not digging trenches anymore, and I can focus on kind of like, the brand itself. But it's allowed me to go from, okay, digging the trench and beadboard on the walls to like really designing the back bars. I mean, like some of these and one behind me, where we can really feel like we're giving something to Mobile. Like my biggest compliment, people coming outside are like, man, I feel like I'm not in Mobile. And that's a great compliment, but I want Mobilians to know that they deserve something nice and, and it can be fancy, but also comfortable. So like, that's kind of the direction that I've gone, is like kind of taking the design aspect and the experience aspect a little bit further into the brand.
And you doing that takes serious investment up front, right? Serious capital to do that, because it's nice finishes and nice atmosphere. So thanks for going all out and doing that.
Yeah.
For sure. Here's another question I thought of literally on the edge of consciousness when I was having that nap. Can you give us a skinny on something going on, some development happening in town that we don't know about, that might be coming down your pipeline? Is there anything you can share with us?
In pretty similar to you, kind of sounding like you're trying to rest, but you're still thinking about everything at the same time,
Never sleeps, man.
I'm working on the true rest aspect of my life. And to kind of take a little bit of a left turn, I mean, Post on the Hill, the location at Spring Hill College that we're working on right now, which is kind of a new thing. Those were both two opportunities that were phone calls to me. And it was just originally to both of them, I said no. And then kind of like, visited the locations, checked out the area, kind of revisited, because everything for me has been downtown. But and I've had the benefit of working well with the city and trying to help with some properties that they have to turn into some, future opportunities for the city as a whole. So, but
can you disclose those? Can you tell us about one? Is that legal?
I wish I could. I wish I
you
could.
Can't?
No, I can't specifically talk about one. But it's exciting for me because it is something that will really give back to the community as a whole. And I'm looking at it as like an opportunity to use similarly my kind of full circle aspect of being, going to Spring Hill and putting this location on Spring Hill's campus, again, being a Mobilian and having the relationship with the city and being able to work out, this future project. So I don't know if I can or really can't, but I think for karma purposes, I would rather like unveil it in a different, when I know that it's an absolute, working with the city is awesome. I mean, the city, I mean, the changes and the future that we have with our city. I mean, if you guys have been a part of it in the last 5 to 8 years, we've really, really grown. And to me, it's like being on the behind the scenes a little bit more now. It's like, man, buckle up, because we're looking at a really aggressive and bright future for Mobile. I'm really excited to be a part of it.
That's cool. I framed Chris, I screwed this up, man. I framed my question wrong. I should have been more chill about how I asked about the I was like, can you or can you not tell us? I should have just been like, hey man, let us know, what's that spot or whatever.
What about specific changes, kind of what you mentioned, with the city and working with the city? What are some specific changes you've seen since maybe like the mid 2000s when you first started?
Yeah, so it's still challenging at times to there's still the normal structure that they have to opening a business and historic aspect of that. And, I try to look at all those things as positive things and try to communicate with them, as a somewhat young business owners still. I mean, I'm getting a little older here, but like the experience in opening a business to share with them so that we do have people opening businesses. I mean, I welcome that in downtown. But I just recently went to the International Downtown Alliance Conference in Chicago, and I come back and I report on this stuff, and you meet all these people from all these cities from throughout the world. And last year I was like, man, like, we have opportunities, like some of these cities, like the crime, the lack of real estate, all of this stuff. We have these great opportunities. And then this year, just in 1 year, you're really starting to see the city unveil plans with the Civic Center, the Brooklyn by the Bay, which is going to be a beach in our backyard. I mean, like, how cool is that? The downtown airport that's coming. I'm personally indifferent about the bridge. I think that's going to be a very cool. It's got this awesome Belvedere platform where you can go to the top and look throughout. It's like so many feet above. It's really cool, and it's going to be walking and biking across. But like, it's still going to be a faster route for people to get through our city. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to stop. So I'm indifferent. I'm always open to those types of things. But more so, you're seeing the city. It seems like the mayor's like kind of got his feet underneath him, and it's like, I've got all these plans. We've made all these. We've drawn up the plays, and now we're calling them, and it's been exciting to kind of be a part of that.
What would you say to people? So I think a lot of people probably think, you look at a lot of the buildings downtown that, have got potential, and we see those buildings, all throughout Dolby Street and all throughout downtown. I feel like a lot of people are probably like, well, why don't somebody like Matt, somebody who's an entrepreneur, just go in and fix up those buildings, and what are some specific things that prevent entrepreneurs from, of course, going into a 150-year-old building and turning it into a restaurant or a bar or a music venue or something like that?
Yeah, we have the fair share, of kind of old mobile property owners. You hear that a lot of, people that own property, won't lease it, won't sell it, kind of sit on the aspect of it. And, life kind of takes its course in that aspect of it, and it kind of works its way out. I mean, the block where Outsider and Insider is, that block was completely blank for many, many years. And I can't tell you how many times I walked past it and was like, man, this piece of crap, and then life is funny. And next thing you know, I own the property and I'm developing it, and I still have one building that needs to be developed on that block, and so I think the timing is right. Obviously, like, I'm not a big proponent on talking about COVID too much because it affected everybody, it had its negative effects on everyone, but it did make us look at how we invest and how we kind of plan to open the businesses a little bit more strategically, because it did it was like this kinked water hose. It was like business was good, we're doing well, and then all of a sudden somebody kinked it. And then when they unkinked it, it was like the water pressure of business was outrageous, but you knew it couldn't sustain that, And so it was like, let's kind of slow its roll. But I believe that really it's kind of seeing that wave of transition. I think that in the next few years, you're going to see some of these other businesses open, and it really takes, business management. The hard part is not opening it up. The hard part is, my dad said this when I opened O'Daly's. And he said, what's it going to feel like knowing you have a business that's open every day? And I was like, now I got 8 of them. So, that's where these wrinkles come from, but you really, the thing that I thank God for and whatnot on a regular basis is the ability to work with and find good people. And this city has great people in it. And I've been blessed with some of the greatest people that helped me to grow. And it's like really a challenge on how can I help them grow? Because again, life's going to take its course on me also. And I, have this great opportunity of developing these properties, but that's not ultimately what I want to be known for. I want to be known for helping people and being kind along the way. And so it's just a blessing that I get to do my dream job along that process.
That's all. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Starting a business is hard, but then running a business and continuing that operation, super hard, right? Like longevity for a business, establishing a brand over time, like crazy hard. And that's actually, man, like you and me have talked about this a little bit before. I think I pinged you one time after you had spoke at something where it kind of dawns on me like you basically run like a media company that happens to have locations and does cool stuff and collects people. Like your media company like markets fun events and gathers people, right? Whether it's like music or keg tosses or like I don't know, I'm just thinking of all the stuff I've seen you do over the years. And like you attract people to fun basically. And there just happens to be like sales around that, whether it's like food and beverage. Is that like an accurate, like, do you think I'm fair to say that?
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, and to be honest with you, when I travel, if I meet somebody and we're not going into a lengthy conversation and they ask what business I'm in, I usually say marketing because if I say, oh, I'm in the bar business or go through the route, whatever, it's like, oh, what's your craziest story, whatever. But like, you're exactly right. The only job I had prior to kind of going in this route of life, which was just a twist of fate, was working for Red Bull North America. And they kind of ingrained this process in your brain that you may look at it as an energy drink is their brand, or is their business, but they're a brand. And if you get people to become loyal to your brand, they're going to love it, they're going to share it, and they're going to use it. And so like my brand just happens to be, hey, pup. That was good.
I heard a noise. I was like, what is that? Yeah, it was my dog.
My brand just happens to be the businesses that I own. And we're looking to get loyal users, whether it's through events or through fundraising or through just a good experience. And if they become loyal users, then they'll talk about it, they'll share it, and they'll use it. And that's what ultimately, like when I opened O'Daly's, it was like the first bar that I got to like use my brain, like, and really conceptual and have like I guess somewhat of a business plan. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And I got to watch it come to life from paper to bar stools to butts and seats. And that's kind of the drug that I really strive, that like kind of keeps me going. But then it was like, people just like, okay, they're there. And I couldn't really just deal with a bar. Like we got to do stuff, And so that's when, the events and my job with Red Bull was to throw unique events and never to do the same event at the same location. When I opened O'Daly's, my job stayed the same, but the location did as well.
That interesting background, man. But I like as a business owner myself or whatever, like enjoy marketing. It's an important aspect, I think, of things that I do and like one of my strengths. Man, I see that as one of the reasons why you've been so successful and been able to create these businesses of longevity that have lasted because you do things that pull people in and collect people and attract people. And I don't know, man. I mean, that's a huge part of the success, and like I commend you for that. And I would actually I would think any business in the city, like even if it's like a boring business, maybe should like think in that manner. Like how can we adjust our brand maybe in a way, like I think they could take some ideas from me,
And I listen, I follow my face first usually before I hit something that's going to be a home run. And usually it's never a home run. I've done very few events that are home run. They're usually base hits. And then I happen to get around the bases, I mean, I joke about this all the time. I mean, when I opened the Irish Pub, one of my first weekly specials was on Wednesdays, we did free potato days, so it's like free crawfish, but it was like potatoes. And if you've ever baked a potato or made a potato bar, like it's not the easiest thing to do. And then next thing you know, I'm buying potatoes from Wendy's on government and having the toppings. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, but it just, you're training your brain to keep trying versus like with St. Patrick's Day, I'm trying to compete with this crazy Irish pub that's been around for 1 billion years. That's a staple in Mobile. And like, and I'm this new, young, dumb kid. Like, how do I do this? So I came up with the idea, like, we're going to open up at 6 a.m. Like, that's what we're going to do. And the first year there was like 5 people. Now we're about 150 by about 7 a.m. But the biggest success from that is, and I didn't know this at the time, is the news is live from 5 to 7. So they reach out to me because they know I'm going to be up and I'm going to be there, and put me on live television from 5 to 7 a.m. and I'm promoting it, on their dime all day long.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Talk about earned media, right?
Yeah.
But when you first started it, you didn't know that was going to be a benefit. You just said, hey, how can we differentiate? And then that ended up being a perk. That's probably the biggest perk of
when I first started it, I bartended the night before, slept there, and got woken up by my pals at 6:15 because I overslept my 6 a.m.
Hey, we're open, man. It's 6:15.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, I kind of switch question. In regards to events, have you ever? I'm gonna throw up a image on the screen. Do you know what this is?
Yep, silent disco.
Bam, silent disco. Have you been to one, or have you done one?
I have been to one. I went to a fair in Los Angeles and did one. Yeah.
Was it cool? Was there one DJ, 2, 3 DJs?
It was either 2 or 3. I think 2. I think there's 2.
So it's like competition between the DJs, right? And you could switch or whatever.
You could switch left, like A or B or 1 or 2, whatever.
Got it. Would that for a fun event in Mobile? Would that work in Mobile? B, would that work with your brands at all? Like in any of your locations? Do you think?
I think so we've partnered with the city events and did it for an art walk probably a year or 2 ago.
Cool.
And
okay.
I think it would work well even with an O'Daly's event. Like when we do events, we try to like pull pockets of people and keep them moving. So if you keep them entertained, they don't want to leave your location to go somewhere else because there's one more thing to do. Oh, hey, like let's grab a drink and wait to do the silent disco, or let's grab a drink and go play pool, or let's grab a drink and go play cornhole, or hey, our friends are over here. So like, it's like, how can we keep people entertained to keep them busy before they're like, hey, let's go check something else out. So the thing with the silent disco is like us as people, like our attention span is just not very long, So like the silent disco thing, like even for me, when we did it in Los Angeles, we did it for like 15 or 20 minutes and it was cool and fun that we did it. But it was, after a period of time, you're dancing off cue with your pals and, you're not talking at all or whatnot. And it just, we just kind of like gravitated to something else.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you think to do it successfully or just have it so that it's like a fun thing that works? Do you think, would it need to be like a ticketed thing where people were like, that's what they were going for, to like be there for a couple hours and like have a competition with the DJs and make it like a bigger thing? Like, do you think that could work?
I think if you do like more like competition style and kind of like, where they're also like there to kind of keep that aspect of it, I think that could definitely work. I just think that like we have a hard time just, not talking and not, to be like focusing on just dancing and listening to just what you want to listen to,
Yeah.
So like I like picture it as like, hey, like our St. Patrick's Day, we've got like a, our music, we have like usually 3 to 4 bands throughout the day. And so like have like the area of silent disco, and you see these people that are over there and kind of the silent disco, you can have double the entertainment going on and keep people going, whatnot. But
got it.
It would be, it's fun. It's cool.
Okay.
It would make my neighbors happy to have less noise.
Right. Yeah. Right. Maybe I'll chat with you offline about that. I've never been to one. I've always wanted to go. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just like throw one and like put one together or something. Do you remember? So it was my 35th birthday. We did a 90s. You let us do like a 90s dance party at your.
Yeah.
My wife, Mandy, makes fun of me so much literally since then. She's like, dude, we threw a 90s party and you didn't even really like dance or anything. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was just hanging out, having a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we ended up raising some funds. Like you very kindly made a donation for some of the door money, like, or all of it or something. I don't know. To Fuse Project. Really, we like, I don't know, man. We almost raised like $1,000 and we weren't even, I don't know what we were doing. We were just being goofy, having fun. So I'm like, I'll talk to you offline. Maybe for my 40th is coming up. Maybe we could do some co-produce like headphone party if you think it makes sense. I don't know.
Like how spot on a 40th birthday and you want to have a silent party.
Dude, that's where I'm going, baby. That's where it's going. Turn that music down, baby. Turn that music down. I don't know. I'll crank in my earphones.
Down is the new up.
That's it, baby. Down is the new
there's
up.
There's your slogan for the party.
Down is the new up. Man, I could probably get the 30 and up crowd, 35 and up crowd.
Yeah,
probably
we'll show those kids how to party.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll show them what's up, man. So okay, I don't know. I'll do some thinking there, and
we'll show them what's down.
Exactly. We'll show you. All right. A few other things I want to hit on real quick, man, before we let you go. Chris may have something, but I'm gonna go ahead and just steal a couple of questions real quick. So Chris and I have some of the topics we've hopped on here and been talking about. Like, so we first started, we just said, okay, let's just shoot the bull. Like me and Chris every now and then we'll grab a coffee. We lost him for a second. That's okay. We'll me and him will grab a coffee. And so we were like, man, let's do this. Like, let's just do the same thing. Let's just record it. Let's have our coffee and let's talk about stuff in the city and what's going on. Well, a few episodes back, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we kind of hit these 3 ideas and I'm like, man, these are really cool. We should let's actually chase these down and see if they either end up at a brick wall or maybe they go somewhere and we can help someone do them. So, I'll tell you what they are real quick. So the 3 ideas, the first one we haven't chased at all, but we just thought it was a good idea, which was somehow figuring out the Jags to continuously play Tulane in the Battle of the Beads or Battle of some Mardi Gras battle game. Thinking football, right? They just played and they're going to play a few times coming up, but like, whatever, it could be something else. But like, could those cities capitalize on that exposure for Mardi Gras, attract people to the cities? I don't know. That's idea 1. Idea 2 was a lot of super cool murals going on downtown. Like, I mean, like you're involved with that, with your buildings, you have some murals. So we saw this graffiti bridge in Pensacola and we're like, this is crazy. And we're like, oh, there's no rules. Like people just are able to just change the art. And so the idea number 2 is like almost like an ever-changing art wall that anyone theoretically can you can paint over, get your pictures, Instagram, whatever. And then it's continuously changing.
Sure.
So that's number 2. Let me go ahead and say number 3 because I know it's like a lot. Number 3 was like, hey, can we number 3 is the one that I've gotten near death threats for already. Not really, but close enough. But number 3 is like, hey, can we close down Dolphin Street more to automobiles? I think we went pretty far out there. We're like, let's close it down to cars, man, street traffic. And then like, we're really just exploring that idea and we want to get tons of feedback from owners. I actually personally don't agree with like fully closing it down, but I think that Art Walk is cool the way that it happens. And I'm like, could we do that more? And would that benefit the businesses and such more, like to have a, Art Walk style, closure of streets? All right. I just threw out 3 crazy ideas for you. Go. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'll agree with the South, Tulane matchup. I definitely, that's a funny topic for me, the whole Mardi Gras thing, because I'm from New Orleans and so I usually stay out of that debate.
Fair.
I think that's I'm fully on board with that. The mural thing, just to touch on that, that's one of the things that the city is pretty laid back about. Like, there's not a whole lot of red tape with artwork downtown. There's not a whole lot of like it's, it's like funny. It's like, some things are a little bit tougher to get permitted and some things are a little bit easier. And for whatever reason, like that just kind of happens to be one of those things. And so big proponent in the IDA conference this past week. That one of the master talks was a guy who does a lot of muraling for Chicago. And everybody, if you look at anybody's posts from when they travel to most cities, if they visit a downtown, usually one of them has a background of some mural, and so it's like definitely a staple aspect of that. But I'll touch a little bit more on the last one, mainly because I'm a big proponent for that. I actually kind of drove the ship a little bit to close Dolphin Street down during COVID, or like post-COVID, when we needed more street dining. It comes down to kind of an interesting, tough thing. And I'm just going to put the facts here. And there's nothing behind. But the fire department says, so how you can park on the, the fire department says that it's a safety issue. And that's really what it comes down to in a lot of different cases. I personally, I know I said I wasn't going to give my opinion, but here I am. I personally believe that Dolphin Street's one single lane after 6 o'clock, because you can park on the left side and the right side. And when you have a route of cars, it's almost impossible to get to that car that might be at Cathedral Square to move more quickly to get to maybe my buildings for an emergency. But with the barricades, you see a fire truck, most of the people are, hey, look, they see a barricade, we're going to pull the barricade out of the fire department's way. I'm a big proponent for it. I think that there's something to said about, we all kind of secretly like to break the rules a little bit, and walking in the middle of the street just feels fun. It allows people that don't have the ability to have outdoor spaces, have an outdoor space. It adds square footage to your location. We actually did it post-COVID, Fridays and Saturdays from 6 to 10, and it got a little bit of a pushback with fire department aspect, and then actually a restaurant that's no longer in business with parking. But I think it's a great thing for our area. I think we have enough side streets for traffic to cruise on. I think that it's a good aspect for it. Especially when you see the vibe of Art Walk.
Yeah. So and Chris and I are we're both interested in that as well, but we're trying to collect also both sides. Like we want to hear opinions from all business owners, or like I've heard now from a few residents that live in the area, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course, people live there, and so their concern, and I can share some of their thoughts, and like really good points. Of course, is like closing it down consistently full time. I don't think they like, but I think. And a lot of it for sure has to do with like traffic difficulties, parking. A lot of like good points that they make. But when I brought up the point of like, well, hey, could we just do what we do at Art Walk more often and have more closures and more? It doesn't have to be like all night. Let me add another concern too. I think of some of the residents is like, well, we don't want like we don't want a Bourbon Street. We don't want to all the time walking. That's another like concern that I've gotten from some people, some residents.
Well, Art Walk's only 6 to 10, so they move the barricades at 10 o'clock and then they allow the cars to go. So, it's not
exactly,
it's not an all night thing.
Exactly. So that was actually one of my personal responses to like these residents. I'm like, hey, like I was like, on a personal level, I don't think we need full-time closure. I think we just need more set timed closures. And they like, I think those residents I've spoken with have both agreed. They're like, oh, well, that actually makes sense. Like and then at 10, you can, whatever, it could open back up to vehicles. One quick personal anecdote. So I was eating at, one of the restaurants in the Insider Food Hall and Insider Collective. I can't say what it might have been for our eating project A to Z in 2023. It hasn't come out yet, so that's why I'm not mentioning it. But I met a friend from out of town there. We ate outside one of the picnic tables. I don't know what time it was. Literally 7 o'clock or 7:30. Within the hour, we were like, "Oh, this is great, man. We're just chatting and kind of watching stuff or whatever." At least a handful of vehicles came by where we just couldn't talk to each other for like literally minutes. We just, hey, let's just wait until, motorcycles, cars with some boom. We had like scooters, zipping in and out of cars the opposite direction of the street. Bikes kind of doing whatever. And I'm like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I'm old man Brooks here, like concerned for some of the safety of some of these folks. And I'm like, man, during Art Walk, like it feels safe to just kind of cruise around and you can cross the street and see something on the other side. And it does feel cool. So like, I don't want to speak for Chris, but he was kind of excited, like when we mentioned that idea at first. And so, but that was some of my feedback just from like literally a week ago being down there on an evening. And I was like, man, this could be cool if there was a little bit more, periods of time without vehicle traffic.
Sure.
What would be the downsides of it, do you think? Or for your businesses or businesses that like what would be the
yeah,
con?
I mean, the restaurant heavy people are definitely more kind of hold the parking aspect of it. I believe that for the most part, people go downtown and they kind of expect to find a spot, type thing. It's like similar to the Insider, like we require the vendors to take the phone number to give people their food. So we train the customer through all of the stalls that they're essentially doing the work by going to their table, finding a location, getting a drink, hanging out. When their food's ready, they go back. So it just decrowds the area and allows them to multitask of a customer, So same thing. It's like, you kind of eliminate that aspect. Like we're all resourceful. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out how to do that. But I still want to be mindful to those businesses that rely on that type of customer.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing is like, you can park on the left side of Dolphin Street from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Like to me, that should be parking 24/7. It adds, there's a study with the value per car per spot that they bring, revenue to bars, restaurants, retail, whatnot. And then it's a safety layer as well. You sitting on the picnic table on the sidewalk, there's a car, barrier there. And so we just haven't gotten there yet. The scooter thing is something that's kind of stressful for the downtown police captain and whatnot, because they are supposed to be doing, old man Matt here as well. They are supposed to be taking traffic, following traffic patterns. They're not supposed to be going against traffic, not supposed to be going on the sidewalk. And it creates too much, but that's one of those things you can police it today and tomorrow it'll be, it'll go back. So that's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, you had something?
Yeah, I almost think I agree with you about the parking. I think the whole key to everything that we're talking about really is more parking and more better parking, more free parking. If it's safe if the fire department says that it's safe to park along Dolphin Street from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., then it should be safe to park along Dolphin Street 24 hours a day.
That's a tricky one. They say that they can't get their trucks through. They need like a certain like foot of clearance, and like like the obvious aspect of like, is it safer from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. versus when we do close it? Like like what's the like there that space is taken away from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So like, but I try not to like nudge that so that they're like, oh, we'll just take away 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. also.
Yeah, gotcha.
Plus, there are a lot of good friends of mine too. So like, I think there's some legal aspects to it as well. I think they have the reason. I think there's just some things behind that.
Gotcha. Yeah, because the last fire I'm aware of at that vacant building obviously was in the middle of the night, so that was between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So right.
Most, if you look at most fires, most of them are in that later night period, mainly because people either are asleep or negligent or not there to that. Like if it is foul play, it's a more quiet time for things to happen. And so, like, to me, it's like I'd be curious the data on the time of that. But again, I pick and choose the things that I feel like I want to nudge, and that's not one of them right now.
Got it. What's on your list that you want to nudge that we could help nudge?
Yeah, just kind of talking about the events and talking about closing Dolphin Street and whatnot. It's always easier to do so when we have events going on, versus just like, hey, we're just shutting it down. So like, I think as people, we have in our brain that like, it's how it's always been, and stuff like that. So when you kind of shake that up a little bit, it really messes with people until they can see the positive aspects of it. But the times that I see Dolphin Street blocked off is when there are events and there are things going on. And, I wish I had more time in the day, because I'm just a big believer in Mobile as a whole, but downtown being like the heartbeat of our city, and like working together. We have such a good reach through businesses and residents downtown to continue to drive people there and raise property values and bring visitors. And when we work together to bring those events together, we really can bring some pretty powerful stuff to downtown, and it benefits everybody, and the community's engaged. It's like what I love about Mobile. It's like the if you build it, they will come method. We're all just looking for something fun to do. So when somebody has like a new exciting idea they're willing to try, most of the times, if they're organized and well put together, it's usually a successful event. So
do you see anything coming up, or any ideas that you guys have that maybe you're wanting to put on? Oh no, I scared him away, man.
Sorry, I got a phone call.
Oh, no. Oh, okay, cool. You're still there. You can hear me.
Yeah, that was actually the ABC board that I just declined.
Oh, no. Sorry, ABC board. He will call you back ASAP. We promise.
He might call me right back, actually.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
We have a good relationship, but it's funny that was the person that I just declined. I was literally looking at an hour, and I haven't got a single phone call, and then it's the ABC board.
That's crazy. We will wrap up, man. Yeah, we'll let you go in a second. I know you got to go. But what did I say? Is there any event coming up or anything that's on your? Yeah, the only thing I got is the silent headphone party. I want to talk to you about. But like, what's on your plate? What's on your agenda? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty focused on, our busy season starts October. We make the majority of our money when everybody else is off. So now that it's cool weather and holidays and whatnot, October through May is pretty much our like buckle down season. We get a lot of events that come our way that we don't plan on a regular basis. We still have our regular ones through, Halloween, the night before Thanksgiving, New Year's, O'Daly's anniversary with the keg toss, Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's Day. Just I'm working on something Waterfront, kind of engaged. And so that's kind of like what's on the horizon for me. So
I like that tease. And I know that's all you're saying. I know you're not saying anything else. I already know. You're not going to add to that. Okay. No, that's super cool. Okay. On the front of kind of closing Dolphin a bit more, are you more of a fan of like periodic, maybe just increasing the frequency of the Fridays rather than like a permanent type thing? And if you are, like, what kind of avenues do you think me and Chris need to go down as we like bring more people on and have more chats? Like, how can we help, get that information?
I think there needs to be more like business involvement in it, so in the aspect of like, you're closing the streets, but like with Art Walk, we have the street vendors along the whole street, right?
Yeah.
And so like, if you don't have the vendors on the street and the street's just closed off, you've got people just congregating. And that's what they don't want. They don't want, what they've coined the car bars and stuff like that. You don't want the congregation. So like, again, like I mentioned in my businesses with the events, moving people around, like I believe that to do it, if you look at, forget what the area is called in Miami, but they like cities do this. Like we're not inventing this. Like cities do this and they're successful with it. I just think that the businesses have to, the retail, they got to roll their racks outside. The restaurants, they got to put their tables in Dolphin Street. You know, my bars, like we got to put high top tables, take them out of the, you know, high top ones. Let's take them out and put them outside. You know, like we've got to like almost accentuate the outdoor aspect of that and encourage kind of the extra real estate, or there has to be some sort of amenity to do it. Because otherwise, again, I think that you're just closing the street down.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Art walk, it works and it's beautiful. But you're right. It's because of all the interaction with everyone, all the pieces that go into play. That's a great point.
And like we as humans like strive for open air. I mean, like even Mobile with the weather that we have, I mean, the place, I mean, Cheese Cottage, it is only outside. Like, that's it. And like they do great. It's one of, you know, one of my favorite places to go. You know, like, you know, my neighbors with the rooftop. I mean, it's a great ability, but with doing that, it allows the people that don't have rooftops or don't have open windows. Like when I did Outsider and Insider, I designed it so you could open every single window and open it up so that it was, you know, al fresco and inviting and whatnot. But not everybody has that. So like, what's an ability for us to engage that and you know, kind of, to me, if the city is going to let you use free property, let's use the free property.
Yeah. You have a great point. The businesses roll stuff out. I mean, there could be some simple seating that can maybe there's some, well, I say simple, you know, nothing's really simple, but you know, stuff brought out, some planter type stuff that just like creates an invited feel for a temporary period of time. And then it's brought back in after a set period of time. And then, like I feel like in my mind, as we just continue down this path of just conversation with people about it, I feel like the way to do it is just increase the frequency of art walks somehow, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. That's just my gut feel. Is that like, cool, we do it there. Can we just figure out how to multiply those Fridays and have other stuff? And I don't know if art walk every time is crazy complicated, crazy hard, or if it would be easier to do, you know, a double in a month, like, you know, twice in a month. I don't know.
You know, and I think that like, you know, it's a great event because, you know, we know it's coming up, the second Friday aspect of it. I like that. But I mean, Mobile kind of compares itself and uses a lot of things from New Orleans and kind of that culture and that aspect. And I mean, our Visit Mobile slogan is Born to Celebrate. You know, if you go to New Orleans, there's a fest every weekend, if not multiple a weekend. And again, it's organization, it's time and stuff like that. But getting, you know, these organizers to kind of look at the months and be like, we have Latin Fest, and it just kind of like snuck up on us, like, oh, you know what I mean? But like that could be a great Friday night event where it's throughout all of Dolphin Street, and we kind of block the street off, and there's entertainment, you know, throughout different things, you know, like Tiki Fest is the month of August, and that, you know, third Friday we block off Dolphin Street and everybody kind of opens it up. I mean, New Orleans, granted they have, you know, quite larger of a size, but I mean, they're doing Creole Tomato Fest and Beignet Fest, and, you know, you name it, there's a fest. But I think that we have the ability to engage those customers and do something. And I think that like just having a calendar, because if you look at a lot of like our Pride event that's in June, which has a great attendance, it's on Art Walk, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like, and a lot of those people pick those nights knowing that it's going to have good attendance, you know? So if it's like we alternate the Fridays, it's like, hey, this is another Friday that we know, hey, this fest is going to be going on. It could be, you know, something that draws.
100% agree with you. So my wife's launching actually a nonprofit out to do some good like project out of Mobile, and she originally told me, she's like, oh, we're gonna do it on a Friday evening. It's at Oyster Shell Strategies office. It's right by Bienville Square, and it was like the Friday before Art Walk. I was like, babe, just do it Art Walk Friday. It'd be so much easier because then people are already going to come down there and they can flow from there to Art Walk. So you're right on. It's people or organizers that are doing events or things. It makes sense currently to do it on that Art Walk. Like you said, Latin Fest, which is awesome. It's on our calendar, and it's like a 2-day thing, I think. But yeah, tied into Art Walk on Friday. Side note, Rollmobile. I got to announce this publicly because I haven't done this. Hold on, let me show you guys this. Or I'm gonna put this on video. See these skates, dude? I've been wanting to go to Rollmobile, but here's the thing, man. Completely self-conscious. I used to go to skating rinks, dude. 5th grade, every Friday night, I was at the skating rink. I think I'm gonna go. So if y'all know anybody wants to go, tell them to ping me, tag me, or whatever.
Chris, what color are your skates?
Yeah, Chris.
No skates. I do have an update though. I did skate a couple weeks ago at the skating rink.
Nice.
For the first time in about 20 years. Didn't fall.
You didn't fall. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you, it's working out some muscles that you haven't used in a long time.
So Rollmobile. So I'm staring at our calendar on this screen, like as we're chatting. Super, like just a neat event that like the city's done a cool job in creating a lot of this stuff, like movies in the park and this. Matt, let me ask this about and I know we got to wrap up. I keep just getting excited. New Orleans, like those events that are every weekend or whatever, Creole, Beignet, is the city events office putting those on, or are they private events, or is it a mix? Any idea?
I'm not totally sure. If I had to guess, it's people, it's like crazy inexpensive in the city of New Orleans to block off the street. It's like $200 for like a parade permit or something like that.
Gotcha.
And I think they've just like embraced the aspect of that's what the city is, and whatnot. But I think that similarly to your birthday, and you tie it into a fundraiser, I think that's a lot of the aspect. It's like, hey, we're going to have a fundraiser, but we're going to make it Red Dress Run, Red Dress Run in New Orleans. I mean, people think of Red Dress Run as thousands of people just on Bourbon Street in red dresses, but it's an American, it's American Heart Association benefit. So, and so like, I think kind of like tying in those things is a big aspect, kind of the fundraiser, but knowing their audience, hey, look, like let's have some fun or feed them or do whatever. And I think that kind of like helps feed some success.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, because events, to produce an event when you're starting from scratch, obviously is like it's hard. It's risky, and if the city has the funds to do it, that's cool. Nonprofits produce events a lot, right? And have continuously as they get into multi-year events. I don't know if there's any. If the city's worked with any organizations to say, oh, cool, you have this idea, we'll help support it, and almost like a partnership with the city. I don't know if that's the thing.
I mean, you look at like Chili Cook-Off,
Yeah.
like that's it's an event that's a benefit, but it's like it's really just like I feel like I don't eat a ton of chili, but I just get to go see all of my friends, have some daytime drinks. It's a beautiful Saturday, usually in March, and then, like, hey, yeah, eat a lot of chili, but it's just like, it ends up being a great day for downtown. I mean, you've got all those people that are at that event, they leave like, hey, like, so the locations that don't open early, we open early for that, and so it's
smart.
It's economic for the city as well.
Smart. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess in my mind, just kind of talking out loud. Yeah. Could that more consistent closure down Dolphin Street tie into, like what you're saying, events, something that
Right.
is, tied in or consistent. So, we want to continue having those conversations with people, man. So if you think there's more people, like who should we talk to? Like, does anyone come to mind that you're like, man, y'all should talk to this person about this idea? And there's no pressure. You don't have to name it now. You could like shoot us somebody or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, like the person that came to mind, was Reggie Washington, who had Southern National, and he was a big proponent of it. And, COVID kind of took him back to Atlanta. But
Okay.
he was another one that was kind of on board with that. But off the cusp, I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Chris Eddings, is just somebody that, I respect in the business world. He's one of my neighbors with Chucks and Five and El Papi and whatnot, and he's got a very progressive mindset, kind of open-minded. And that's what I really enjoy about new businesses and new business owners is kind of the open-mindedness, because we tend to get in this mindset of like, well, this is just how we've always done it, and that's not necessarily like the best way.
Totally. Totally agree, man. Where do you hang out? Do you hang out anywhere online if people wanted to find you, or is it just like, hey, come to one of our establishments?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on all the social platforms, Facebook,
Okay.
Instagram, and whatnot. But between emails, texts, and phone calls, and I don't engage in too much technology related connections. But yeah, just about every day you can find me at one of the places. Unfortunately, I'm not like it used to be. Like, oh, hey, look, I know I can catch him, on Dolphin Street within like that block, and now it's kind of like stretched a little bit further. So.
Yep. More locations, more places to try to find you, man. Totally makes sense. Well, man, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us and chatting. Like, really cool conversation. Like, really insightful, really neat. Hang out for a second, if you just a few more seconds afterwards, and then
Sure.
we'll let the folks listen to this next or watch this next video. And I'll see you guys soon.